right of the people to keep and wear orange shall not be infringed. Welcome to the Cuse Militia podcast with those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe. Give us a like on Facebook at Cuse Militia Podcast and follow on Twitter at Cuse Militia.
All right, what's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning into the Cuse Militia podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please share it with your friends and family. Same show, different name. We now have a lock on the social media sites, our website, and the show. So all things Cuse Militia now. It makes it easier for people to find us, and it makes it easier for Joe to remember. So
yes,
that's that.
Yes.
So that's what we'll be from on. What you see is what you get. That's done. I was on the fence for a while with it, and I just decided that I think it would be easier. So we did it. It's been talked about for a while. So anyway, all right. One more thing to mention, super quick, and then we'll get into content for this show. Thanks to Brandon Buskey, he is doing a little bit of contributing to the website, CuseMilitia.com. Yep. He's been looking at some of the 2019 recruiting targets for Syracuse basketball, so you can check that out on the Facebook page or on the Twitter page, or just go to CuseMilitia.com and check it out. So he's going to be contributing a little bit here and there. We're going to keep him on the recruiting. So
it's pretty informative if you don't know anything about their targets. So
yeah, they got a couple. They got 3 main targets right now, and I think that 2 of them are pretty heavy Cuse right now. So
yeah,
there's one.
Go ahead and read the article and
check it out. And none of us are. I guess I would be the editor in chief. So anything that slips by and maybe there's a missed period or whatever, we're not English majors.
Or a misspelled word.
It's a blog page. So if it gets by, it's my fault. I take full responsibility for that. But go there and check it out. And we're gonna have Brandon on the 2019 class, and we'll have him update as necessary. So. Yeah, and if you want to contribute, if there's anything you want to contribute, you can DM me on Twitter or Facebook, and you can feel free to send opinion pieces or whatever you want. So, and I can't compensate you with cash, but we are putting together swag bags, just for the record, stickers and things like that.
I want a swag bag.
You don't get a swag bag.
No.
Shut the hell up.
All right.
That's done. So, big news yesterday. Well, we knew it was coming, so we planned the podcast around it, basically.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of, yeah. Tyus battle coming back for the 18-19 season.
Yes, sir.
I think most fans are pretty happy about that, judging by social media. Most notably not because of his gameplay, not only because of his gameplay, but because of the dude's a class act.
Yeah.
He's got character. He's a good dude, and everybody seems to love him. And I don't know who would ever have thought he was gone anyway. I mean, who said that? Who said that? Who would have came on a podcast and be like, he's gone, just like that?
You.
What? Huh?
No.
No.
Hey, man, I know it's been a while since we've done the podcast, but don't think I don't remember.
I would have never done that. So,
along with all the other Orange fans that didn't, right?
I know. Well, here's the thing. Here was the thing. My thought process.
Who said they didn't know? I think it was me. I think it was this guy.
Yeah, I know. We all know, and I believe it's on record. Maybe not. I could scrub it just as easily as it went up, though. My thought process at the time was that his percentages weren't great because he was doing so much, and that in a different environment, especially getting ready for the NBA, I thought that he had a better shot of kind of settling down and focusing a little bit. But there's just so much competition there for that spot. I mean, and he's on the edge of being a early second rounder or a late first rounder. I mean, that's a difference of like $2 million, and maybe
and a guaranteed contract.
Right, exactly, and not something you really want to what do you want to say?
Fall
chance.
Into.
Yeah, you just don't want to take the chance on that. It's a little risky.
Yeah.
So
it's risky, yeah.
And we looked at the combine stuff. He had a really, really kind of rough first day. He didn't really stand out too good. He recovered on the second day, and he looked pretty good. But then he had his workouts So, I mean, I think it's the right choice, judging by what we read out of the reports that were, the only way we can do it is read stuff that's posted. So,
Yeah,
you think you made the right choice, Joe?
I do.
Um,
I think a lot of times they sometimes there's things that you can fix when you're in the NBA, and then sometimes there's tools you need before you can go. And unfortunately, with Tyus, that was his kind of thing. I think by the end of it, he only worked out for 4 or 5 teams.
I think it was 4. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was all kind of saying the same thing that kind of early second, maybe late second, maybe not even drafted, and a lot of the things like driving to his left, dribbling, finishing to his left, the 3-point shots and percentages and stuff like that. Some of it worked against him because of what he had to do for Syracuse, obviously. But at the end of the day, that's all stuff that you kind of got to have under control a little bit before you go into the NBA. There's a lot of guys very similar to him. So,
yeah, and like I had just said, and like we've talked about, it's clogged up for that position this year. So, and it's always going to be like that. So you got to be really good to go. You got to be on your game, and I think another year will do him a great service coming back for you.
Yeah. Well, and he didn't get. I mean, Syracuse, they limped into the NCAA tournament. It wasn't like a team on the radar in the regular season. So, again, with his percentages and everything, and then they got into the tournament and they won ugly. So, I mean, obviously they made a run, but it wasn't a sexy run. I mean, we did what we had to do to win, but again, the percentages weren't there, and he was obviously one of the stars of our team. But again, coming back this year, you're talking about a team that's probably going to be ranked, and he's going to get a lot more recognition from the jump. So let's see if he can just shore up some of the things that the NBA's scouts think that he lacks in.
Yeah, and
without hurting our team.
Right. I was just going to bring that up. You mentioned to me last night, I believe it was, about what. Help me out.
Tyler Lydon.
Tyler Lydon had said about when he decided to leave, instead of coming back and working on the things and only focusing on the things that he was told he needed to work on, it could hurt the team.
Right.
If that was your focus, but as Tyus, I don't know, and I'm not saying Tyler Lydon's a selfish player, but I don't think he has that mindset. I don't think he has that mentality. I do think he's a complete team player. You didn't always see the leadership from Tyler Lydon, let's be honest. There was that year, his last year, when he should have taken the reins on that team, and he just didn't. So there was,
right. Well, you never know somebody's motivation.
I know
that's
that.
really
I'm
what
not
it comes
judging
down
his
to.
motivation at all. I'm clearly what I saw. So.
Well, I'm just saying, when you get players their motivation is purely selfish and just getting to the NBA and being in college because they need to be, then that's just not a player that is really conducive to building, teamwork and building a good team that's going to be a perennial, every year top 25. They just make it about themselves,
Right.
Not saying that Tyler Lydon did that, but everyone has their motivations to go into the NBA. I remember C.J. McCullough.
Yeah.
When he ended up, he went to the NBA because he had a 1-year-old baby, and he was going to have a baby, and he had to figure out how he was going to feed it and how he was going to pay the bills.
Yeah, exactly.
And although he's barely even played, he got picked in the first round, had a guaranteed contract, and I think he's made somewhere between $3 and $4 million in 3 years. So, some people, it's a motivational factor. Some people need to do it. And Tyus Battle obviously loves Syracuse, loves being there, wants to get his degree. And
which
he can come back and play with his friends.
Right, which he could get his degree this year, his junior year.
Right. Yep.
So that's a huge deal. And we talked about that before. There was a couple things leading up to this that you would see on social media. I was watching social media. I didn't think he was going to make the announcement until the last second like he did, but you're always watching things and things like that. And I saw one consistent thing all the time, and I think it's really sad that Syracuse fans have to give other Syracuse fans the etiquette that they should be, that they should have when players may leave early. Because we went through the whole thing. Who was it? Was it Matthew Moyer who was just got bombarded and slammed by SU fans on Twitter and stuff like that? Like, it was pretty despicable. So if we could just grow up. I mean, aren't we past that?
Right.
You only have these guys for 4 years maximum anyway, and if they're here, you're on your feet cheering for them, and if anyone says anything about them, you got their back. But when they decide to go better themselves and maybe go to the NBA if they're good enough and things like that, then you get all bent out of shape and take to Twitter and be a keyboard warrior. I think it's despicable, man. So.
And at the end of the day, these players aren't doing it for you. I mean,
No
fans
kidding.
are part of it, and obviously they want to make their teammates and their families and their coaches and the fans proud. But at the end of the day, this is for them. This is their life. So you got to make decisions that's best for you.
Tyus' statement, I have decided to go back to Syracuse University to complete my junior year. Although I may have been picked by an NBA team of my dreams, I feel like it's in my best interest at this time to focus on improving some fine points in my game while continuing to work toward achieving my degree. My plan is to re-enter the draft next year. Going back to Syracuse is an easy decision on many levels. This is where I want to be for now. I had incredible workouts with some amazing NBA organizations. However, the NBA, God willing, will be in the future chapter for me. So let me ask you this. I think a lot of people were market Tyus draft, and he's done. I think some big media people were too. Syracuse.com, CuseNation.com, I think, thought that he was gone. So let me ask you this. After that has been said, we had a couple recruits fall through. We picked up Braswell. And, we've got a couple young guys coming in. Buddy Boeheim, Howard Washington is going to be healthy. We'll talk about him. Jalen Carey, Elijah Hughes, the transfer. So with now 4 guards on the roster, scholarship players out of 11, does it complicate things a little bit? Do you kind of feel a little bit for Elijah Hughes maybe, Jalen Carey maybe, that they might be getting less minutes with Tyus coming back?
I don't think it complicates things. I mean, it definitely is going to make it difficult, I think. I think that there's going to be people that might have short leashes. If he had this depth last year, there probably would have been times that Frank Howard would have been pulled.
Right,
so,
right. Which is what he had the year before, when Frank Howard was getting pulled.
Right, exactly. So, and we do have the benefit of the fact that we are a little shallow as far as the wing forwards. Who knows whether Braswell is going to be able to pick up that slack or not. So I know that last year Boeheim thought about sometimes going small, especially against other teams that possibly go small and throw a Tyus battle down to the wing so that they could have played a Geno Thorpe. Obviously, Geno Thorpe transferred. Howard Washington got hurt, and there was the end of that idea. But now that we have this depth, you have an Elijah Hughes and possibly even a Tyus battle that could possibly go down to those wings. So I think that it gives Boeheim the chance to be creative,
right.
Both on offense and on defense, and the press and being able to do kind of – last year we couldn't just press in the middle of the game and kind of turn it up because we had to save our legs. And this year now he can spring a full-court press, you know what I mean, off of maybe a basket or a quick momentum turnover and try to, sway the game a little bit and have guys out there running because he knows he's got some depth to come in. So – it's definitely going to be crunch time wise. It's going to be, someone's obviously going to have to sit out. If there's one person, like I said, that I'd have to worry about or that I would just hope is going to be able to take this as well as he possibly could, would probably be Jalen Carey. Because he's probably the most affected by this with his minutes. And I'm hoping that he could possibly look at it almost as like a Michael Carter Williams. His first year, he had to sit behind Scoop.
Yeah.
And, he bided his time. There was no pressure. Came in, played his minutes. And then the next year, look at him. He went off. He went to the NBA as a lottery pick. So if he just can understand that he's still going to be put in a position to be successful, but not having to force a freshman out there and do some of the things that like Dolce and Brissett and stuff had to do last year, like someone you look back at a Caleb Joseph, he was forced in there when Tyler Ennis graduated early, and look what he looked like. So sometimes it's not always great to come in and be forced into action. So here's a situation where, he's very offensive minded and he's fast, athletic. So he's going to get his minutes. Just hopefully he's humble enough and patient enough to just bide his time, get the minutes this year, and understand that the year after, when everyone leaves, it'll be his team.
And that's ideal for us mainly, I guess, as fans. Right. But you got 11 scholarship players right now. And the way I see it, and you correct me, and you tell me what you think. A Buddy Boeheim, I don't think will play much. Maybe a red shirt. Now, you got a handful of games that no, that's a medical red shirt, right? They got some.
No, I think
you can do it with
both.
I
think you can play. I think you can both. Yeah, okay. I think there's a certain amount of games before certain percentage of games that you can play before you can redshirt. So there's definitely a handful of games that you can play in the beginning before they have to make the decision, and that's usually what Boeheim does.
And that's all the non-conference stuff, and that's where we'll see what he plans on doing with his lineup and everything. But at Howard Washington and a Buddy Boeheim, does you think even with those, if let's just for the sake of argument here, that we say they redshirt, okay, that's still 9 players. That's still deep. That's still deeper than. Was it last
it's still
time?
Deep for Boeheim.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's he going to do with 11? You know what I'm saying? I just don't.
Nothing.
Exactly. So, someone's going to be getting cut. And Buddy Boeheim, he
not
knows
cut, but you know what I mean.
You know what I'm saying? Redshirted.
Yeah, redshirted.
Buddy Boeheim, I'm sure, is probably going to be redshirted. Although, gosh, the fans just want to see this kid play. He's just, everybody's so excited for him, and me included.
Yeah, but these players have to understand. I mean, you're talking about after this year, there'll be 4 players gone with the majority of the minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so let's talk about
after this year, Frank Howard and Battle and Brissett and Chukwu are all going to be gone.
Yep.
And there's where you're, so I think with those players, you come in and you do what you have to do to be the best teammate you could be to help all those other players that are going to be playing, and be a good teammate, be a good bench, cheer, get them pumped up, and go along for the ride, because I think that it's going to be a very – and we'll learn, they're going to learn just through playing against them, and that's another thing. You don't know how much that's going to help, because, I mean, imagine the practices last year.
I know.
Chukwu was banged up. Sidibe couldn't even barely run. We didn't have a bench. Who were they playing against? Who are they practicing against? We were practicing against walk-ons.
Yeah.
We even played one, and now we're going to go to a situation where we're going to have a legit 5-on-5.
He even played in the tournament.
Yeah. So I think overall, those kids I think that we have the potential to have a special year this year, and those kids, no matter what they think with this battle decision and what's going to happen or the playing time, they just got to take it with a grain of salt and go forward and know that they're going to have plenty of opportunity after this year. Just be a good teammate and learn, like you said, and go along for the ride. Okay,
so we have that. Now, with Tyus coming back, we still have 2 scholarships left.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have loved to have 00 Sonny. That would have been great, because we're a little thin in the center area, and we know how Chukwu is constantly in foul trouble. And with we've talked about the history of knee issues with these guys, and
Well, we look at it like that, but Osun looked at it as, I'm not going to go somewhere and be somebody's insurance policy when I can go somewhere else and play.
Yeah, chose Bonaventure, if you didn't know. If they stay healthy, the following aside, I think that's just something that's just with Chukwu, it's just something we've got to do. He's just so big, and it's like, over the back all the time. I mean, it's just something that it comes with Chukwu.
Right. Well, like I said, you can only hope that they both are going to be way more healthy coming into the season, and knock on wood that it stays that way. As long as when those guys are healthy, that's a formidable center. Having 2 guys just like that can guard the rim and 5 fouls each. I mean, that's all we ask for.
Yeah, no kidding. And it'll be the first time in almost 2 decades that the starting 5 is coming back. And that's incredible. Since 2000.
Right. So, and we made a Sweet 16 run.
Yeah. Stronger bench going into next year, despite Baisley, despite a couple of really good recruits falling through for us. We still got the East Carolina transfer, Elijah Hughes. I think he's going to be awesome. Jalen Carey's going to be awesome. Howard Washington, we'll see what happens with him and Buddy Boeheim. But then you still have Braswell, who I think has the potential of just being something special. I mean,
yes, I do too. I just feel like it's unfortunate in the fact that he's probably going to be. I would be surprised if they used a red shirt on him. I feel like he's not going to be able to.
You wouldn't be surprised. Is that what you said?
No, I would, based upon our depth.
Oh, okay.
I mean, unless Boeheim is cool with. I mean, if Dozier gets in foul trouble or Brissett or one of them gets hurt, God forbid, or anything like that, you're talking about now you got to put an Elijah Hughes or a Battle.
You need Braswell. I think that's.
You just then that's my whole point. Is it's one of those things where if he might not you get redshirted, but he might play minimal minutes. Like as long as those guys aren't in foul trouble and those guys are healthy, then he's going to play minimal minutes, which is unfortunate. But we do need his depth in case of that. So
we do need the depth. It is unfortunate, but that's how it goes, man. I mean, that's how it goes. Tyus coming back did kind of throw a wrench in some of this, and that's why I brought it up. So
yes, but I mean, obviously, it threw a wrench in a lot of things because everyone's been speculating that he's going to go. So
yeah, and it is what it is. So
I mean, it's just like there was a top 25 preseason top 25 where they had. Well, Syracuse was the first team out. As the guy had him at 26, but that was with him assuming that Battle was going to the NBA.
Yeah, and I don't even like I don't give much of that any thought. Like
no, I know, but
think about what they did to the football team. You know what I mean?
Right.
They gave the football team no love at all. I mean, Vegas didn't. No one did.
Well, I mean, and another thing that I was going to say, Vegas last night. I don't even know what it was to start the day, but I looked at it. The odds to win the championship last night when I heard Battle had gotten. I think it was around like 9:30, 10 o'clock that I looked. And Syracuse was plus 8,000 or something as far as the odds to, I think it's 80 to 1 to win the national championship next year. And then this afternoon, when I looked at it, they were plus 6,000. So, I mean, they jumped from 80 to 1 to 60 to 1 just overnight in not less than 24 hours just because Tyus Battle. So, I mean, even Vegas thought he was going. So
yeah, true. Good point. Yeah. So, I'm not a complete dumbass.
No, you're not. But Vegas isn't always right.
I know. It's terrible.
I've learned that the hard way.
Any last thoughts on the Tyus situation or any of the roster situations, Well,
the only thing that I would like to say about that stuff is it's probably safe to assume that us trying to waste a scholarship, I don't want to say waste, but use a scholarship on a 4-year guy from high school, that they might, I think those guys are pretty much out of the recruiting pool. So, but again, we do have 2 spots, and like I told you before, a lot of times the transfers and the graduate transfers and kids like that, usually they like to wait to see who's returned to school, who stayed in the draft, that kind of stuff, to see what spots are open before they choose. And if Boeheim does happen to think that Braswell is a guy that he could be a James Sutherland type or better, but he has to redshirt and it's going to take a while and he's a project, then I mean, like I said before, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you have 11 scholarships, so you have 2 more scholarships available. If you can get a graduate transfer that can come in and give you more depth in the forward position, then I don't know why you wouldn't use that, because he's gone next year anyway. So it's not a long-term investment. So, but it could help this year.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well,
that would be something that I'd look for. I don't know if they're going to have any more, but I would just say that these next upcoming weeks, because of the deadline being last night, is when you're going to start to see a lot of the graduate transfer talk start to move. And if we are interested, I'm sure we'll see the articles. So
exactly. All right. Okay, now all this basketball talk, we're still talking about basketball. It's freaking, it'll be June tomorrow. We're still talking about basketball, but why?
Well, NBA Finals drags on forever.
What is the NBA? What is the NBA? Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Well, it's basketball, but they're still going on.
Count.
So I mean,
it doesn't count. I hate it.
Well,
let's
either
talk
way.
about. You know what's better than the NBA? Than this so-called NBA? You know what's even better than that?
In your opinion?
The basketball tournament. And the basketball tournament is coming up The deadline to have the players to enter is tomorrow. We've got that. We've got 8 players. This is the summer tournament. It's a winner-take-all, $2 million purse split amongst the players and staff, I suppose. And Boeheim's Army is our team, and they made it to the semifinals last year. And that is when Paul Harris said he was ready to pull the trigger. And after being talking with Belby, what is this coach?
Sean Belby,
Yeah. He's from Liverpool, right?
I believe so, yeah. I think he was a team manager.
Yeah, so he'd been talking to him for a couple years, and finally after making the semifinals last year, he said he was ready to come. So Paul Harris and Joe, I don't know if it was on the air or what, but we've talked about Paul Harris and his size and how impressive he is, like a freaking linebacker, that guy. So,
dude, yeah.
And
I thought that he was actually going to actually try out for like the tight end and like stuff like that when he got out of basketball because of his size. I really thought he could have done that.
6'5". I don't have his weight here, but he's 6'5". He's 31 years old now. He's been playing in the Turkish league, and he will join Eric Devendorf, Brandon Trish, John Gillen, love the Gillen, Chris Joseph, James Sutherland, Deshante Riley, one of my favorites, Hakeem Warwick. I mean, hello, the block, and now Harris. So that's 8. They've got what they need to enter, and they've got until they have to pay. Okay, they have to pay a penalty or a fine to add players after tomorrow. I think they're looking.
Yeah.
I think they're looking for one more guy. They need another center. So
yeah,
but that's what we got. So this starts on what, the weekend of July 20th. It starts in Brooklyn,
right?
And it's just. If you're jonesing for some old school, I mean, this is like throwback. They should call it the throwback basketball tournament for us, anyway. I know that other teams don't.
Well, a lot of teams do that too.
Do they?
A lot of teams, yep. They're basic. I mean, there's some that are mixed, but for the most part, a lot of them are the same type things where there's like mostly Notre Dame or you know what I mean, like
right.
Certain players. I know that Pittsburgh has one too. So.
This is a good team, though. This is a good team so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a good team because I don't know if I don't want to say for sure. I think Hakeem Warwick actually did play in it a couple years ago, but like with all the players that I don't think they've had this amount of good player. I mean, Chris Joseph and I don't know if he's played yet, and Paul Harris, I know he hasn't, but those are 2 guys. And Brandon Trish is one of the better players. Devendorf still was scoring last year, so
Devendorf was awesome last year.
Yeah, I mean, you remember that comeback game that they had, right?
Yeah,
I mean, they were down by like 20 or 30, and they came back.
That was to go to the Final Four. The Final Four.
James Sutherland, who's on this team, hit a bunch of threes. So I mean, we got some scorers. I would like to.
John Gillen's a scorer.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see. I don't know if Cooney's going to be able to make it or CJ Fair, but
need a center.
Not going to lie, I kind of hope that Dante Green doesn't get the call, but we need like a Bai Musakita.
Yeah, Boeheim Army would be perfect, and we could do 9.
Or a Rick Jackson.
Right? Yeah. I like Boeheim Army. You get 9 players, and then you go with that. I think, or
maybe we could get a celebrity, Renzi Unawaku.
Oh yeah, right.
I'm just saying, you never know.
No, you never know. It'd be another great one. But how many teams are in this? Do you know? Did I put you on the spot?
I believe it's actually 72. To be perfectly honest with you, I think that there's some.
So what's the give us the rundown, Joe? Give us the in a nutshell rundown of this thing, and tell us how it works.
It's not really too much. I mean, you kind of hit on a lot of it. I think you need 7 players. I think the max on roster is 15.
Damn,
but you can add players afterwards, like you said, for I think it's $1,000 team. That's like a registration fee after the.
Oh, and the seating too. The seating.
Well, the seating is basically kind of opinion based. I used to think that I thought that it came down to votes and fan votes and stuff like that, but I guess it comes down to just the tournament committee, and they look at talent, chemistry, reliability, probably how the team did in the past as well. And I think we usually rank up there pretty high. We usually get a 1 or a 2 seed. And with the players we have,
what did we get last year?
I thought we had a 1 seed or a 2 seed. I'm not too sure, actually.
That sucks. There was something I remember about voting, and it entered you in something. Fans could win money or something like that for voting. That wasn't the seeding? I thought that was.
No, I think that was. See, I thought that was too, but I think the voting was for if you get certain. Somebody gets a chance to win money. Like you said, there's voting on something, and then there's a fan that gets a chance to where if that team wins the whole tournament, then they get a certain amount of money or something like that.
Yes, that's what it was. I think you pick the winner, and if that team wins,
right,
and there's multiple winners, so there's multiple chances. There's a couple different people that can win the money. If you pick Boeheim's Army, in other words, I think there might be 3 or 4 people who would win money for picking them. So, and it goes, it goes down as the lower you get picked or whatever. But, all right, well, anything else with this?
Yeah, we were a 3 seed last year.
We were a 3 seed? Okay, well, I'll be happy with anything in the top 5. I mean, I think we're better than that, but whatever, I don't care.
No, man, Boeheim's Army's getting better seeds than Syracuse.
The overseas, I know, right? Overseas Elite has won this thing 3 years in a row. So, I think Boeheim's Army, it's their time.
Have they really?
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
They won last year too?
Yep. They beat us, and they went to the championship game. So that's it. Anything else, real quick, Joe? It's a wrap. What's up?
Yeah. I mean, they just, it's going to be fun to watch that. It's nice to have something like Syracuse.
It's awesome.
I mean, it is. And it's getting bigger. So every year, I think there's more and more money involved. And again,
follow Boeheim's Army on Twitter and Facebook too. They keep you up to date on everything. So.
Oh yeah, and hopefully we can add somebody.
Yeah, we need one more guy, I think, at least.
I think that they will, and I don't think that covering the $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000, whatever the registration fee is to get somebody in, whatever round you're in, when you do it, it's not really probably a big deal. I think if the person is going to come and do it, then they probably are paying their own registration fee. So,
right, that could be true too, and well. It'll be fun. We will be back. Yep. We will be back with another episode before then.
Yes, sir, we will. So we'll be able to hit up the finalized roster.
That's right. So we will be able to come back. Hopefully, we did one at the beginning of May, one at the very end of May, and hopefully we could do something close to that for June. I think last year we only did one episode a month, so we try to do 2 a month. But, it's the off season, so we just wait for news to build up. So that's
and you kind of need the content, you know what I mean?
You can't just come on here and drink beer and listen to Joe burp out the side of his mouth,
Oh, what? I mean, come on.
But as fun as that is, and I get to do it multiple times when I'm Joe's ride home phone call. So, except for when he's out of town, and then it's crickets, but that's a whole other story.
Geez.
That's a whole other story. All right, that's it.
You know what the deal is with those cricket phones? They're weird.
Yeah, okay. All right, for Joe, I'm Sean. This has been the Cuse Militia. We're out.
Bye.
This has been the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. Be heard. Contact us on Facebook at Cuse Militia Podcast and tweet at us using #CuseMilitia.